it's important that once you get to 10K, you're not as frightened for as so many people to walk away. Because you've kind of proven yourself at that point.
This is Memoirs of a Fitness Trainer podcast. We are your hosts, Ryan Tullis and Tyler Johnson. With over 20 years working with clients and a lifetime of personal experience in athletics between the two of us, we're here to talk about the meat and potatoes of the fitness industry. Join us every week as we interview clients and fitness professionals alike and teach you the tips to succeed in your own athletics. Welcome to Memoirs of a Fitness Trainer podcast. Today, we are talking about 10K. Hitting that magical number as a personal trainer. Well, what if you've already done it? What comes next? In today's episode, we are diving into that very topic, and we have a little bit of a different change to the podcast. I have both of my hosts on with me, and I am fucking excited for it. Boys, how the fuck are you?
Feeling good, man. Loving this topic, honestly. Into that first 10K is definitely a challenge, but I will tell you this, it is more challenging to surpass that number. So I'm excited to help you guys and talk about how to get there, how to sustain it, and what can come with it once you get past that 20 and even 30K mark.
Let's go. Tyler, I love the festive attire. How's your day been?
Hey man, it's the month for it, all right? Yeah, go Hanukkah, go Christmas, whatever you
Go
celebrate.
Hanukkah.
Love it all. Dude, Hanukkah's on Christmas Day this year. If you didn't know that, widen your scope.
You know what's
But I mean, how do
actually
you
crazy?
come up-
I'm actually Israeli, and I didn't even know that. So good for you. Love
All right.
that.
Hey,
That's concerning.
so looking forward to this topic because as somebody who's been an in-house trainer and coming back to the industry and going through my first year back on the business train, I haven't had an opportunity to really get to 20K. And if I did do 20K, then I would not be sleeping at night because I'd be working like 80 hours in-person training. I'd be working for two different gyms, but we'll get into the numbers game in a little bit. So yeah, I'm stoked to hear about your guys' perspective.
Dude, you think about it like moving from being a front end trainer to management and having programs. Like that for you is where that 20K element is going to come from, at least in your next iteration of your career. So that's absolutely something that I think is going to happen for you within the next year. So that's so cool.
Program wise, like small group training, you can definitely shove more people into one room. And if you can get that where they're like all grouped together and they're paying for things on the side, you can make that price tag come up a lot higher. So there's
Correct.
ways to make it operate.
Correct. That's what I was thinking about for you. It's like, how much can you fit into 1 hour of work, right? Because, I mean, you really just want to take that hourly rate and multiply it by X amount of numbers. And by doing that, you just fill up that hour with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Dude,
Or you set your price tag a little bit higher. So I mean, like, to get to 10K, right? If we're just averaging out, let's say a session's $100 and you were to close 100 sessions in a month, that's 25 a week. That's 25 hours. Realistically, that's a goal. That's 10K. To surpass that, all right, most gyms are going to either charge more, so $120, $140 an hour, and you're still doing 25 sessions a week, but now that ticket number has gone up to 1,400. So there's ways to kind of make that number go up a little bit higher, but it's based off how much can you supply, how many people are you training, and what you can continue doing.
Correct.
Ryan and you have both been people who have hit 10K and continue on. So let's talk about your first 10K experience and then your next month after that. Let's go with Aaron first.
Yeah, so just piggybacking up really quick of what you said is I think it's so important that you have to look outside of more than just the actual training session, in a sense of there's so many things that come with building a clientele and building a success in the fitness world, right? So that's such as, okay, let's start thinking out of the box, nutrition. Now you can start charging extra for nutrition consults. Now you can start nutrition coaching, mindset coaching. So that's a big one that I've brought into my gym. We want to help people on not just reaching their fitness goals, but their goals outside of the gym, so that can actually keep them engaged with their body and mind more, giving them more time, more availability. So I think all the additions as well is something to consider once you get to that point of, okay, maybe I can't raise my rate. Maybe $100 is what people are willing to pay for one-on-one personal training sessions. So what other avenues can I add into this? But me personally, yeah, the 10K was For me, it was all trial and error. It was all trying to find my specialties and what I was good at. And from this stage on, what I've realized, what actually has been the best to duplicate my income is delegation. So delegating out work that I either am not good at or don't have enough time for. And so I have now hired, whether it be coaches, whether it be somebody to run my ads, whether it be someone to run my social media content, delegating out that work so I can concentrate on managing and planning, right? So my job now at this stage should be more of creation and then having other people run that creation.
That was probably a pretty, like, visceral feeling when you got to that point where, like, did you feel like a woohoo, or was it just, oh, we're here now and it's really not that much? Because that was kind of my personal experience. It was like, yeah, we did it, but this
Correct.
is really not that much money. Shit.
Absolutely. It was to the point where it's like, okay, this is just enough to where I feel like I'm making strides in the right direction. But when it actually comes to growth of the business, yeah, it's next to nothing, right? Because you still can't go full throttle. You still have to be very cautious of where you're putting your funds. The big thing for me is you really have to be careful of trying to always have the best of the best, right? I wanted the best equipment in the gym. I wanted high tech this, high tech that. I wanted my social media to be ran and spend top dollar on it. But in order to do that, you got to have the funds. And obviously 10K is not enough to run that kind of management. And so you really have to take a step back and take it piece by piece. And, as you go on further, as you get to 15, you can start to add a little more, 20, a little more, and so on and so forth.
Dude, absolutely. Layering those things in as you make more and more profit, I think is the game-changing move. To be able to go, all right, I made an extra grand. Well, let's allocate it somewhere. It's not just all spend, not just all save. Let's go ahead and take some of that money and allocate it towards, all right, I'm going to have an editor work on my ads for me. There's $500 in that direction, and maybe you take $500 and you throw it somewhere fun. But making sure that you're layering in that income with growth opportunities, I think, is huge.
Yeah, let me tell you probably my best investment I have made to this day after I reached 10K. My brain works a million seconds. I mean, it just is nonstop on what I want to accomplish. And so for me, hiring an outside source for somebody to check me was a financial advisor and bookkeeper. And he just keeps me in check on overspending in the wrong areas, or maybe it's just not time to spend in that area. So for instance, I wanted to buy a brand new piece of equipment, but there was things that could be done with that money that will substantially shoot us forward over buying that one piece of cool equipment that just looks good, right? And so hiring that person, it takes money to make money. And hiring him has not only saved me money, but it's put me in positions to skyrocket my source of income.
Dude, that's awesome. That's kind of funny because that was one of the first big investments I made back into my business was hiring a financial firm to work with. Mm-hmm. Someone just set up what type of tax structure is going to work best for me. All right, you're making this amount of money. What do you need to allocate here? And just, hey, that's not a good return on investment ROI. Having that there was huge. So it's kind of interesting that there's a parallel there. Money ever spent. Like, that's so true.
The best, yeah, it's funny. It's like spending money on somebody to help you make money. It's weird, but honestly, it's not my specialty. I'm sure it's not a lot of yours. Everybody that is probably, our niche of people that are listening to our podcast is not going to be business majors. It's going to be exercise, science, right? We are personal trainers who are learning business, but a lot of these other people, we want to hire them because it is their specialty. They know how to make money grow, and they will help our business succeed.
Huge.
Well, you know who actually it is. It's people with freaking big ass egos, and let's be honest, like that's the trainer, right? That's gotta be our perspective. We gotta be that guy who's just like, man, we're the top dog in the gym. I can get you bigger, stronger, faster. I can make you lose weight. I can do all this for you. And we have that ego to have that point to put aside and be like, I need to hire somebody to help me with money. It's a very tough point. It's always asking for help, and more specifically on our side as three guys, like men asking for help. Like me in my program with AA and sobriety, that's one of our biggest things that we talk about with guys. It's just like, hey, asking for help is one of the toughest issues. And for
Mhm.
men, and as far as like being in any industry, whether it's being a personal trainer or, running a coffee shop, asking for help as far as the financial advisor or dates or times, that's a big thing. So I never really thought about that if I was going to go into that
Yeah.
affiliated program, but that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, delegation is everything. You want to make sure whatever jobs are, first off, know what your time is worth. And then whatever jobs are not getting you the setback of what your hour is worth, then delegate that job out, right? So if you're $100 an hour and that's your rate, if it's not making that kind of profit for you, send it to somebody else to do and go do what you're good at and make that $100 an hour or whatever it is your rate is. The other thing is, I think most importantly for me in my journey is a team. Eventually, as a personal trainer or a business owner, you want to hire people to do the exact same thing that you're doing. And obviously, you're going to be taking a pay structure from them. You need to duplicate yourself.
That's huge.
Yep.
I feel like we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because this
Yeah,
guy just hit
I know.
10K for the first time, and you're talking about hiring a team. Yeah, ain't nobody hiring a team on 10K, man.
So, all
Getting
right.
down with a CPA for a $500 hour, they can maybe
Yeah.
do that.
All right.
All right, let's talk perspectives of the 10K. All right, we know like kind of the in person, or as Aaron's clientele is kind of like that offsite, group trainer, one-on-one training, which is at a private location. Like that 10K is, of course, is going to be a lot higher. You have to be able to pay rent and other employees if you're going to open up a facility. Like what that's going to cost is going to be feasibly. You have to be more like 20 or 30K. Now,
Mhm.
operations end of an in-person, because I know we've all done in-person, and then Ryan, your perspective on the online training. I'd love to know, like, what was the first 10K like with the online training? How'd you do it? What was the best tools and tickets? And then, well, post that, when you hit that 10K, the next task of that 20K, like, when did you start?
A lot of getting to that point was figuring out how to market. Like that was the huge part, was ramping up from not having a single online client. I mean, I remember when I made that transition, like just going through everyone I'd worked with and just sitting on the phone with them going, hey, I'm doing this online coaching thing. You want to maybe give me a shot? Like I'll give you a free month, and kind of starting out that way, because I essentially had to build a ship while I was sailing it. And it was also taking on water, and also, everyone else was building better ships next to me. It was kind of a shit show. But going through that element of talking to people and figuring out what people were looking for was very helpful. But once I hit that 10K, a lot of it was, all right, how do I duplicate from here? Well, what am I not good at? I can't do an ad to save my life. Just, I could throw $1,000 a month on AdSense, which is, for those of you guys that don't run ads on like Meta, that is an exorbitant amount of money. And I will get nothing back from it. But I can go spend $800 on a guy and have him build me an ad and then do $200 on AdSense and get significantly more from it. So me hitting that 10K was something that allowed me to then go out and purchase someone to do the thing that I wasn't good at, which, to Aaron's point, that was kind of the secret sauce, is identifying the areas that you're not very good at and then hiring people to facilitate that need for yourself. And that's ultimately what generating money as a business owner, why it's such an important thing. Money's cool, like absolutely big fan, but it allows you to start playing the business or empire building game on easy mode. The problem with being a 5K trainer is the only asset you have available to you is time. 10K trainer, well, I've got time and now I got a little bit of disposable income. And I can use that to buy back even more of my time, or I can just use it to pay someone to do something separate from what I'm currently doing that I have a need for, which in my case was hiring someone that could really master marketing for me. And well, I mean, that was that was kind of the main trick for me, scaling up from having no online clients to, well, quite a fair bit more now. That answer your question?
Yeah, no, it definitely did. All right, but let's talk about like the ticket items. So, like, if I'm an in-person trainer, I can charge that $100 an hour, right? With the online training, unless you're like doing some like, video training, which I'm guessing that you did not start doing that,
No,
and you were using.
I've never done a single video workout session in my entire life, and I never will. I do not believe in it as a model. I know trainers
Yeah.
that make it work. That is not my, yeah, not a fan.
I get
That's
it.
a
I get
horrible
it for like a
practice.
nutrition consult. I get it for like a consultation basis, like to be there face on face with somebody. Like I get it, or like a checkup, like 15 minutes, like sit on the
Yeah,
phone, let me see your face, let's see how things are going. I want to know if you're lying to me. Like that's
that is not what a
understandable.
check-in's for.
That's what I check in for. Anyways, like you fucking with me. It comes back to old PT me, where it's like, you'd see clients be like, "Oh, your shoulder dislocation," and then like, we worked on those exercises. Have you been doing them at home? Yeah, totally. 3 times a day? Yeah, definitely. Anyways, so the ticket that you're selling though, we're talking like, 199, 299. I believe that's like around like your price range that
Yeah.
you're kind of going for. So,
It
and
started
that's
out with $99, and then it transitioned its way up as we built out the infrastructure and we created it. But you have to start with it. My God,
yeah,
you got to be in an economy offer, even if
right,
you're good. Which, to place my ego aside, I do feel pretty confident saying I'm good at my craft. But when I
right.
first went into online coaching, like, yeah, I knew the science. Yeah, I knew how to get someone to do what I needed them to do. But I mean, there was no sense of professionalism, structure, or consistency applied. So I had to start with pretty much just giving my time away. And then
Yeah.
as we kept getting more and more success, being able to build out a more professional product that I could package better. Because really, the product didn't really change that much, but how we packaged it
Mm-hmm.
changed exponentially. And
Right.
that allowed me to start asking for, now we have tiered options that start at $199 and work their all the way up to $399. To get to that point, I had to kind of layer things up as I went.
All right. So you had those first 100 people paying the 99 bucks, right? Because that's how
Mhm.
it would take to get to 10K. Now, did you transition all those people and like let them know, like, hey, our membership price is going to go up on our website. Like, if you want to continue working here, it's going to be 200 now, and it's going to be offering all this extended stuff. Did you extend people and grandfather them in from the people that were originally paying that 99 bucks? Like, how did you push from that 10K to that big 20K? And then did you lose a lot of people?
No. Anybody that would leave you from a value price increase in like the 20, 30, $40 range, they were going to leave you anyway. Like, just they were one eating ticket away from canceling, one grown toenail. Like, they were going to leave you. I'm usually pretty good at identifying who those people are, and for lack of a better way of putting it, kind of divesting some of my time from them. But no, we didn't really see any drop off whatsoever. And I just took people and said, hey, prices are going to increase in 3 months. And if you want to leave before that, after that, you're completely up to doing that. People leave, they leave.
And checking in on exactly what you're saying right now, I think it's important that once you get to 10K, you're not as frightened for as so many people to walk away because you've kind of proven yourself at that point. For me, in the beginning, I mean, they call it the concierge timing, where you always want to treat your clients like gold, but I'm talking you go above and beyond to make sure that they don't leave because you don't have the confidence yet knowing that you can replace them. And so going back on what Ryan said, it's exactly that. I have built the confidence knowing that if I up my pricing and somebody's going to walk away, I will be able to fill that slot because I know I have done it in the past. My marketing is on point if I've gotten to 10K, or at least it's flowing. And so I've proven myself at that point. So I think what Ryan is
Yeah.
saying is spot on, is you can raise those prices knowing that even if they leave, you will be able to replace them.
Before we go into that, it's one last little bit from me. One of the thing having larger amounts of clients and larger income does is it allows you to play the statistics game. I can make a decision where, all right, 20% of my people succeed when we have this thing here, but 80% fail. Well, and then if I do this thing, 80% succeed and 20% fail. You can start making those more macro decisions because, like, all right, well, if I have successful clients, I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to do the 80% thing. And yeah, that
Yes.
sucks that I might lose that 20%, but now that you have money, well, I can play the macro game. I can start
Mm-hmm.
thinking about what statistically is going to give me the best benefit and start making those decisions. And you just can't do that when you only have like a 6K book of business. It's a very, very tough thing to say, hey, I might have to quarter my business to move forward. You can do that when you've got the money for it.
Correct. I think what Ryan's saying, yeah, it's more, it's at this point, it's trial and error, and you have the opportunity for trial and error, right? In the beginning, there's not much room for error. And so as you get to that 10K, now you can start trying things and seeing how they work. And you go with the statistic that's showing the most profit.
Yeah.
Is
100%.
10K really the point where you'd start like playing with that, or would it be more like 15, 20K, right? Because I mean, as if I'm a 10K trainer and I'm in person and I'm at a gym, right? I'm still making a push where I'm still scheduling at least 1 or 2 consultations per week. I'm still trying to block out, a couple hours in my schedule where I'm doing some lead gen on my own. Like
Mhm.
not necessarily I'm at a point where I can hire a marketer and do all that. And most of that marketing should be done by my gym. Like that's more of the in-person experience. I know these are both like different sides. So,
Correct. And
Similar
so
to an extent, though.
And so that's what's so great about having us three together is it all comes from three different sides, right? So, okay, for me as a gym owner was enough for me to start playing with those roles. And it was also, I know we said it was getting ahead, but for me as a gym owner, duplicating myself was at this point of 10K, right? This was like, I have all of this space. Why would I not hire an independent contracting trainer to come in and start to build up them, right? And so that's what's so great about us three working together is we come from all different sides of what fitness is as a trainer. And so for me as a gym owner, 10K was enough. It was enough for me to start playing with things. It was enough to build my confidence, and it was enough to start considering building out a team.
Now, when you say 10K, you mean 10K in surplus of gross earnings after you've paid expenses, or 10K?
No, for me, it was 10K gross. When I hit
Okay.
that 10K, as long as all the bills were paid, whatever was left, obviously I didn't eat much, right? I wasn't out there buying fancy shit, didn't
Yep.
buy fancy shit for myself.
The lean
But
days.
yeah, but 10K was enough for me to feel confident in moving forward because I knew the only way to turn 10 and 20 and so on and so forth was to take these necessary steps and challenges, or else I would just be staying put or very, very up and down, right? And so for me, as a business owner, the next step
Yeah.
was getting out there and building a team.
Okay.
I like that, boys. All right. I
Yep.
feel like we've kind of had a little bit of all over the place there. I want to shift kind of gear to what some of the mistakes we see. Because we've dived a little into, all right, what's the mindset? Because obviously it sounds like it's going to be different for kind of everybody. Like hitting 10K working in gyms was a completely different thing. Hitting 10K as a in-person trainer, but as an independent contractor, completely different thing. Online coaching, completely different thing. And I have to imagine every step along the way, it's going to be a completely different game. But there are some things that we can kind of put out there of like, hey, don't do these things. That's just dumb. Like for me, one of the big ones I see trainers do is they get a little spend crazy once they hit that first 10K. All right, you have a moment to breathe. You can pay off some bills. Man, you know what? I will get Starbucks one time this month. And then I'm going to go get a brand new Mercedes and kind of fuck myself a little bit. I mean, do you guys see any things like that or experienced anything?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I
No,
was gonna
good.
say I
No?
don't know if I've seen it quite as drastic as Jurassic. What did I say? Jurassic? Yeah,
Jurassic,
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Drastic as somebody going out and getting like a Mercedes. But I mean, I can definitely say that when I was starting to get like that 10K level income at my work, like I was definitely spending some extra money, having some good times. We definitely going on more trips, but I made sure that like I always put at least like 1,000 or $1,500 a month away in my savings account. Constantly just putting some away, putting some away. Like if you're like me, if you're in person and like, my goal is eventually to either buy my own studio or get out there on my own and feel comfortable and be like, hey, I have 6 months worth of money to just say, fuck off. Like I'll go build a business on my own. Like I have that
Mhm.
money to cover my mortgage, house, and car payments and get set. Like that's eventually my goal to get there to that fuck you money. I haven't seen anybody completely blow it,
Goals.
but I definitely remember what it was like drinking and going out and partying and yeah, spending money on the Friday nights because I had a lot of money in my pocket.
Yeah. I think from a business side standpoint, the mistake that I made was okay, felt amazing, right? And so I was like, fuck, okay, let me just take more clients, right? Let me just take on more work, take on more work. And I kind of lost sight of my vision of what I wanted the business to be. As a business owner and a personal trainer, my ultimate goal is to step away from personal training And so by multiplying my own personal clientele, I really shot myself in the foot, because now how do I run and grow a business? You can't work on a business when you're working in the business. And so whenever I got to my 10K, the problem was I was more money hungry than I was vision hungry. And so if you are running a business, know that you do need those extra hours to create and think, instead of putting yourself at the use of as an employee of your business.
Essentially, you are working for your business at that point. I did the same thing. That's kind of funny. Like that first like little bit of money, you're like, oh my God, I like this. How do I like double down? Well, I
Right.
mean, I don't need to sleep. Well, let's work.
Exactly. And at
you
that
only have to sacrifice sleep. Fucking let's go.
Exactly. And at that point, yeah, you're just burning yourself out, and you're not necessarily getting anywhere, right? Yes, you are seeing sessions, you're saving money, doing whatever, but you're actually not growing the business or putting your mind to the business. So for me, that was the biggest mistake that I made. And I did that for probably a year until I realized, okay, I got to take a step back and actually put this business to growth.
Tyler, when you were back in your heyday, your drinking days, did you see a lot of that frivolous behavior with other colleagues? Which that's kind of a rhetorical question, because I know you saw a lot of that.
What's that dude, like the mullet? He's on a lot of podcasts. He's really hilarious.
Oh, you know exactly. I just saw him yesterday. I know exactly what you're talking about.
What's the name of that guy?
I can't remember.
I feel like I should quote him right now.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Right? God,
he's got his own podcast.
Well, hopefully all of our listeners know too, because we're sitting here with no name.
I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I gotta quote him on this one, where it's just like, my favorite type of weed was cocaine.
Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
Is who it is.
Theo Vaughn. See, my favorite type of weed was cocaine. Yeah, no, I mean, like, people were just heavy EDM festival drug community. I mean, people going out drinking, going to the full extremes. I was definitely going to raves and events and taking girls out on dates, spending tons of money. I would, looking at the bar ticket, didn't really matter what the bar ticket cost. So,
dude, lifetime, the amount of money that I should have walked out of my career there with, that I definitely did not have. I had to really put my finger on what I spent it on. Dude,
nothing to show for it, right?
It was just being a hoe.
Yeah.
Like that was so dumb. I did the same thing every time. Bar tab, signing it, going, $200 bar tab. That's probably not a good idea.
If our listeners,
I won't do that again until next weekend.
If our listeners can take one thing away from this episode, it's know that all three of us went through this. And so if you can walk away without doing this, it's essential, because you will be light years ahead of us, because we all three did this. I was on the same wavelength. You just start spending money, having a good time. And not that you can't have a good time, but just know, being in my 30s now, I wish I wouldn't have had such a good time in my 20s as I was trying to grow this business.
Another quote, Ted Lasso. It says live. It's live. No, it's live. Get out there. I mean, we're in our early 20s. What can you say? I mean, we're young and dumb. But now that we're up and older, definitely should have saved or put some away. I would, bring it back to the original point of that question's like, do I see other people, or I've seen people waste it? Yeah, I mean, most of it came from just like not understanding the idea of like creating a savings account or investing or providing for your future. Like in this last year, I've been able to put $10,000 in my savings account. I also have a mortgage, I have a house, and I started from ground zero as a personal trainer. And like my savings account was drained because right before I left my last job, I had a credit card incident where accidentally I was using my. You remember this? All right, yeah. I was using my company's credit card on my Amazon account to build my gym in my garage and everything I had ordered on Amazon for a year. So I owed them like $4,000. So that drained my entire savings account right before I left, as I paid them full and back. So I literally had nothing in my savings, started from ground zero. I had a house payment. I had all this stuff to worry about. And I still managed to get that done and out of the way and put $10,000 in my first year aside. And spent a lot. Ate great. I eat out a lot. I still spend a little frivolous. I'm definitely not doing Aaron's method of just having like top ramen at nights and watching Grey's Anatomy.
Sometimes you got to do it that way, but there's also a cautionary tale hidden in there.
Grey's Anatomy. That's the credit you give me. Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. Hey, he's a solid Scrubs man.
Not even like Survivor or some shit. Like, come on, man.
Dude,
Give your
what's
boy
wrong
some
with
credit.
Graves? I've seen that
But
all the way up till season 10. All right, that's it. I stopped there. When
one of
Jarek
the
Shepard
things,
died, I stopped watching.
reel it back, boys.
I will say this. So going on back on our topic, I think hitting that 10K just allows you to breathe a little bit more, and it allows you to make better decisions and smarter decisions. And don't sleep on, once you get to that point, on collaboration and affiliations and really working with other partnerships on trying to grow and extend. So for me as a business owner, working with partnerships is everything. I mean, I can collab with other owners, I can collab with other trainers, I can collab with nutrition shops. So, once you have that time on your hands to reach out to one of those types of, I definitely would. I think those things are huge.
Yeah, one of the things you can do with that is pay for affiliate marketing. Just going into people that have bigger reaches than you and just, hey, here's $300. Shout out my business 3 or 4 times, or hey, here's a free month. Let me coach you for free. And if you like it, tell your followers about it. You don't? That's all right. And you now have that time to invest into that way, or you can just spend capital and spend that to have somebody go out that route. But just making sure that you're leveraging up on what you have, I think, is the main takeaway from all of this, is either buy back time or buy something with it that's going to go ahead and give you money for later. One of the things I see a lot from is a lot of very money hungry or very ambitious trainers, and this is something I fell into, was investing into things like a website way too early on, or into merch, or we pay into these things because we think it's going to push us forward. And the reality is you're going to spend $5,000 on a website that 3 people are going to go to, or you're going to go drop $2,000 on merch that your mom and dad are going to buy. It's like,
and I think that's perfect. So I think, and I ran into this issue too. I think this is actually, you have to really stop comparing yourself to somebody that's way ahead of you. So for instance, my chapter, let's call it 5, when I was at my 10K, I was trying to compare myself that was at chapter 20 to a local gym. And I was like, oh my God, okay. I go and look at their page. They have the perfect website. I go to their gym. They have swagwear. They're already affiliated and selling their own supplement brand, right? So you have to stay clear of trying to keep the vision, but don't try to compete with the greats already at a 10K level, because you will burn your bank account out. And like Ryan said, I mean, it's going to cost you a fortune to build a website that not really that many people are going to run to, because you're not putting that much into marketing to get to your website. So just be cautious of trying to compare yourself to somebody that's already built, because you're going to spend a lot of unnecessary money on something that you're just not ready for.
I like it. All right.
I literally just did that this year. So I was hearing all that going, yeah, let me go ahead and lay it down. So I definitely made that mistake, because I was like all excited about Fourth Set Fitness, and I was like fucking around with it. So I put money, bought an LLC, put $2,000. Holy fuck, I still have $2,000 in that account, I think, and freaking paid a guy to make a website, and I have all of it going. I even had him look at merch, had all of it, and I was just like, I got one client, and I was like, oh wait, I don't really know if I want to do this. Like, I kind of like working in the gym. I really don't want this overhead. I'm not ready to break free. I'm not sure I even want to live in this area.
Yeah, and it's like keeping up with the Joneses, right? So there's gyms. I mean, I'm in Orange County. There's some beautiful gyms out here. And I was working by myself in my gym. I didn't even have coaches yet. And because I went and checked out one of these other gyms, I'm like, I need this X, Y, and Z. So I did an expansion in my gym when I'm the only coach fucking working in there. I didn't need to put that money and delegate that money towards that. And so you just want to be really cautious of where you're putting your finances, and to not try and compete with the levels that are light years ahead of you.
Dude,
I'm sorry. Did you just quote Keeping Up with the Joneses, a 2016 movie?
Hey, I told you, man. I'm not
mean,
young. Did you have to look that up? Did you have to
I had to look that up. You know who's in it? Zach Galifianakis.
Yes.
Zach Galifianakis.
My boy.
Oh man.
We're definitely not in our 20s anymore. That's so funny. I saw you looking something up, and I'm like, I know this he's pulling me out on this.
Keeping Up with the Joneses.
Okay. Thanks for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Of course, I did. I usually catch all like types of little phrases like that.
So
it's
appreciated.
I feel heard.
These gyms around here, it's like Keeping Up with the Joneses. I was like, the fuck?
So anyways,
Oh,
that's crucial. It's really important. That's where a lot of my mess ups happen. And not only that, it really is demoralizing and makes you feel bad about what level you're at because you're trying to compete with something that guy's been working for 10 years ahead of you. So just take your situation at hand of where you're at and do not try and outwork somebody that has more money than you, more clientele than you, more experience than you, and more education. So
Yep.
just make sure that you guys are being smart and not picking up things that you're not. That's not necessarily going to help you grow.
There was actually a conversation that happened this year that made me realize it was actually, I think, with Ryan, where it was just like, I had to displace like where I was in my life as far as like how many years like I can say I've had a background of training. That's great, but I'm really starting like what was a year ago. And if I wanted to be like out on my own and like go back into it, like I would be, it would be miserable. I would have to do what you guys did, fight for it, want it, suffer, eat top ramen, fucking go for the grind. If that's something I really wanted, like internally, I'd have to go for it. I'm also in an early stage of recovery from my alcoholism, so it's not really something I really think I'd want to do right now is put that stress on me, that weight on the shoulders. So really understanding your goals, if that is not the where you want to be in that heavy grind, like when I got to 10K, I'm thinking like, yeah, as an in-person trainer, that's a good volume. And I need to continue pushing and maybe get to 15 and like a sales month is good for me. But to be like that 20,000, that 30,000 guy who's like, I'm in here 50, 60 hours a week. I don't have an external social life. Like with an in-gym personnel, like unless I'm making like, sales on nutrition, there's other ticket items I could sell on the side. But realistically, like, no, I want to be able to show up to 4 out of 5 of my AA meetings. I want to help the sponsees I have. I like having my weekends free on like 2 other days.
Bro,
So yeah,
I love what you just said. It's like be careful what you're wishing for. Make sure it's what you want because when you get to that next level, you damn well better be ready for what it takes to stay at that next level. So I love that. I think that's spot on. Is really, really sit down with yourself and figure out what your goals really are. In my setting, being a business owner is not easy. It takes a lot of time. And if you don't want to be spending your hours growing that business, then find a different avenue. Try the online world, try, working for a box gym, but just make sure you really know what you want before you put the time and effort into building it.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
then there's
that's
guys like Ryan who very much enjoy working 80 hours a week and would prefer working most of the time versus, having a few days off.
100%.
like building things, man. That's just it's the tism. It clipped me a little bit when I was younger, and I just I like putting things together.
Did you just say the tism?
I might have said the tism.
Man. Yeah, no,
Roll with it.
that tism bug definitely bit my friend. No, but honestly, yeah, it's important to whatever empire you want to build, just make sure that
Tyler,
you're ready for the consequences of what comes with building that
understand what you actually want. Like
Yeah.
that's the big takeaway is understand what the business is for, what your career is for, what you're making money for, because it's not just for the sake of making money. Like
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with changing the world for whatever fucking reason that is.
Well, it's because the tism.
Right.
Yeah, it's the tism.
No,
Yeah.
but that's accurate. Like I will promise you one thing. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, even at the 10K portion of the trainer, you're going to burn out. And once you're trying to become a 15 or plus, there's no way. It's not one of those I can push through. It's something that you truly deeply have to not only enjoy, but you need to find purpose in it. Purpose, once you get to 10K, it's no longer, I'm going to just push through and work my way harder. It's about, I need to find something bigger and better than just that desire for money. It has to be an actual purpose that you're shooting for.
Here's one point though. Okay, so when we're saying hit the 10K, if I'm new and I'm coming in and I just hit my first 10K in a month, I'm not going to change shit that I'm doing. I'm not going to go looking at doing all this stuff, right? I'm going to keep that basis. Like, what would you say is your time frame for how long you need to consistently hit 10K? And if it drops below, should you be worried?
Yeah, go ahead, right?
Okay. The thing.
Gotcha, bitch.
All right.
So, all right. So
First,
I'll
you shouldn't
jump
be in debt.
Okay.
First, be in debt. You shouldn't have anything going on that's like a fire. Like that's when I think of a trainer hitting 10K for the first time, this is a moment where you can kind of reset the board.
Mhm.
You can, all right, if you have bills that are past due or your car needs work, that should be priority 1, 2, 3, and 5 is just get to a place where your life isn't slowly smoldering. After that point, get to a point where you have money set aside that you do feel a little secure with. That if your big client left tomorrow, it's not going to be the difference between making and breaking it. So having money set aside, having your life set in order would be priority 1. And if that takes you 6 months to do, that takes you 2 years to do, that whatever. But once you hit that point, I think if a business isn't growing, it's dying. So you should shift gears very quickly because clients are always leaving you. That's the nature of the training game, is everyone will eventually leave you. Even your long 20-year client, yeah, he's going to leave you eventually because that's just how life works. So I would say get your life in order. Then from there, get some money set aside. And then if you're not growing, then you're dying.
Yeah, I'm gonna 100% agree with Ryan. I mean, the thing to do is to put out the fires that need to be put out in order to get to the next level. But I decided to ignore that, and I went. I work. I work much better under chaos and absolute need to succeed. Like it's it's a sink or swim mentality. I don't ever want to get too comfortable. And so by putting those fires out would make me start to feel too comfortable and safe. I personally like to build those fires up and throw some ignition on it and watch them fucking push me, because then I have no other option. Now it's sink or swim. Yep. My back's against the wall. So for me, I've always been the person that is driven by that. And so there was no comfortability. Once I got to 10K, it was like, all right, my vision goes above and beyond making 100K a month. I mean, yep. So 10K is just the first initial step, right? So if you're comfortable with the 10K per month and that's something that you want to live off of, hey, it's great. It's $120,000 a year. I mean, that's some good money. For the empire I'm looking to build personally, I mean, that's the very bottom tier. So for me, it's more of a drive to have those fires pushing me. But the responsible thing to do is to definitely put those fires out first before moving forward.
I had my credit card company call me to say, hey, like your card's been declined. That was the moment when I was like right around the 20K mark. I was like, oh wait, I should like take a look into some of this shit. I'm like 20 grand in debt.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift back a little bit.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, chaos is what drives me. And so it's like sometimes when things are going too smoothly, I'm like, oh my God, I need to go fucking spend some money or do something to get this thing shaking again, right? Like, let's turn 100%. It up.
I'll take a trip and be like, things are going well. I'm going to go leave the country for a month. Yeah, it'll be all right when I get back.
I'm gonna go drain my bank account, so when I get back, I'm lit the fuck up and need to make money, right? So, but yes,
that's not helping.
Yeah, no.
Oh my God, you guys like literally, you guys remind me like you should just have like that guy from like James Franco's movie. It's like and he's not him or whatever. He's like a multi-millionaire. He's down in San Jose.
Yes,
and he pays that guy to like secretly attack him every now and again. So he's always got to be on his toes.
I love James Franco. I don't think I've seen that movie.
Oh my God, I'll send you.
Got Bryan Cranston in it. So good.
Yeah, 100%. I love his ass. So.
I feel that. See, I'm on like the opposite thread of it. Like I'm like, like I had a lifestyle I was like pushing for in this first half of this year. And then I actually had a conversation with Ryan over here and I realized I'm like, I need to do some inventory and figure out like what it is I really want right now. Like what's best for me? What is my plan for the next year? And I kind of like looked at it further. I'm like, okay, am I happy with the gym that I'm at? Am I happy with what I'm making? Am I happy with where my life is going? I'm like, you know what? I got a lot of freedom right now. I'm focused on recovery. I need to put more effort into helping people in the AA program. I want time for myself. I was like, okay, so maybe I don't want to be a business owner. Maybe that's not what I want right now. If my needs change in the next 5 years. And that's where this comparison factor came into. Somebody had told me or talked to me about like, hey, I can't compare myself to Aaron or Ryan because I didn't have the same starting line. We may have been trainers and I might be an efficient trainer, like working as well with them, but you guys never left the field. You guys were in the freaking mix and going. I took 3 years off where I went and worked as, in construction. And I was, very new to like the idea of like being out in the real world. So like when I came back to training, my ground zero point is really just 1 year ago versus you guys like, yeah, you guys had a starting point and you kind of moved on. You had a whole clientele base to kind of pull from. You had the skills of experience of selling and making all this, making like at least some type of income off the sales or training experience, being in person, what it was like talking with people in confidence. So different
That's huge.
perspectives, but
And I
No,
think that's
it's the perspective where you start. Yeah.
yeah, and I think
yeah.
that's what this podcast is, right? We're all different perspectives. And so take, your situation that you're in and nitpick off of each and every one of us and make decisions based off of what goals you're looking to achieve, as the listeners.
So I got a question for you guys. All right, let's put you guys in a nutcase scenario. Right, your business is
Nutcase.
right now, dude. Let's just say stock market crashes, you have half your clients drop off, like tomorrow. Like your income like gets slashed like in half, or even like it's down to a quarter. Whatever it takes to get you down to like under 10K.
Hmm.
What is your planning? What is your planning for the next week? How does your mindset? What changes for you?
Does that sound fun to you, Aaron?
So
'Cause it kind of does
that,
for me.
somebody once
Part
told
of me.
me as I was building the business, and it was very early on, but somebody once told me as I was really suffering and going through the process and learning through the ins and outs he said, Aaron, you're only going to have to go through this once. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, you can lose everything tomorrow after you've built this, and you will know and have the tools necessary to build it all back. And so for me, I would much rather lose half of the income than half of the knowledge, because the knowledge, I'm going to be able to take it. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm going to have so much ahead of me that I already know how to get back to where I was and continuously grow from there. So for me, yeah, that stuck with me since day one. Is when he said that, I was like, man, that's so true. And same thing from this starting point to my next end point. Once you have those tools, you're equipped and ready to go.
I think a lot of it is once you have, it's just like what Aaron's saying. Quite frankly, I don't have anything more to add. Which lazy ass answer, I know, but that's absolutely what it is. If I were to go back to that, or even if I went back to just reset zero, I've got no one, I don't have a client to my name, none of my book of business knows who I am. I'm real confident I can get back to 10K probably within a few months, and I'm very confident I'll probably go 2, 3, 4 times that within 2 years probably. And all that comes from the fact that I've already learned the lessons. I've already done it. I've already messed up every different way, and quite frankly, by this point, I've probably messed up the same way, just, for good measure. And once you get that experience, that skill set, you really do have the keys to the kingdom as far as success is concerned, because you can always build it back. Firmly believe no business is truly operating on a razor's edge. If you fall off that thing, getting back up there is infinitely easier the second time around. I firmly believe that.
And I think with this podcast being about, you're at your 10K, you've gotten to your 10K, and even more so than that, it's way more important than the 10K you've built. It's the knowledge that you've built to get to that point. And so I think that's really more what this podcast is deeper about, is not just necessarily how to get to your 20K, but how to take the knowledge you have to be able to get to that benchmark. And then it's all about that consistent learning curve. And that's until the day that we end business and retire. I mean, that's how we become millionaires, whatever it may be. It's about consistently building up our knowledge. And so, building up to the 20K is really just that next stepping stone of knowledge and education.
I'll race you to that Billy there, Aaron.
You're on, bro. You're on, man. Let's get it. We'll see.
Well, if you're getting to $1 billion before me, you mind loaning me some money? Like, just throw on the same page.
I
I
can't
got
wait
you too, man.
Can't wait to benefit from both of your guys' success with the yacht trips.
Yes.
Tyler's gonna be jet setting around the world, having a great life.
Yeah.
Like, who is this? That's our party guy.
That's Tyler. He's in charge. He's in charge of hype.
He's in charge.
Why do you guys bring him? Because he gets chicks.
Yeah. He's the charge of fun.
The executive of fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I do think we are coming up close on that hour, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Before I do us a nice little wrap up, do you guys have any last closing advice or some topic that you guys wanted to cover today?
Aaron?
No, I would say that, the journey's a long one in business and in trying to grow what you're looking to accomplish. I think that if you're already at 10K, then you are doing great. You're on the right path. It's very difficult to get to that apart. So if you've held on that long, at the beginning stages are the worst because you don't know what the hell you're doing, frankly, and you have no momentum. And so if you've already gotten to that point at 10K, you're doing a damn good job. And just keep holding on, and you will continuously see success. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys.
Love it.
So this is something I'm working on for my transition to this next gym. And this is actually a big ticket. I mean, it'd be really fun to talk about in a different episode more, but for those who are, in the in-person training, right? Like I'm leaving a station where I've hit my 10K. I'm good. I got a full clientele stack. I'm the number one trainer. I'm about to freaking dip out and go back to ground zero again. Woo, super
Little
stoked.
flex.
And like I got no worries about it. But I'm going to a gym that's got their own principles, their own guidelines, their own process, their own price setting points. So I'm gonna have whatever manipulations I can bring in and do. But here's what I'm doing. I'm setting principles for myself of what I want out of it, how much I'm willing to work, and then more so what I expect from the clients that I take, right? Is that when I go to each one of these people is like, hey, this is what I do. These are what I expect from you. I do not train people like to do 4 sessions. I do 3 months minimum. I do my basis. This is who I am as a trainer, and if not, then I'm not the right trainer for you. Let me
Yeah,
pass you off to somebody better.
yeah, you
And
get
I'm
to
fine.
set
Even if I'm
standards.
not, even if I'm at 0 and it's my first client, the first person that sits down with me and he goes, "Oh, I was only looking to do like 3 sessions. There's a special package going on." Be like, "Okay, great. Like I'll get you set up with somebody else that can get that pushed out for you. I know that I'm new here, but I really don't work or operate that way." Like to really set those, because if I do that, if I start accepting those, then by the time I hit 10K, then every person's going to be set that expectations upon me. Like, okay, this is the guy that will just train me for 2 sessions. So if you're
Earl?
going into this and your goal is to get past that 10K mark and you want to continue on, set your principles right off the bat.
Actually,
Or
that's a really good point. So let me tell you how to get past 10K retention. I mean, if you're having those clients where they are 2 sessions in, then they're out the door, I mean, you're just going to be doing this yo-yo. You are never going to be able to sustain. So you find clients that are going to give you retention, that are going to respect you as their coach, and that are never going to leave. And so I think that's spot on. You're going over there to start a fresh start, and you've already built the knowledge that will give you the way to your 10K and the way to sustain and keep your 10K.
Yep. And
Love
last
it.
point, if you hit 10K and you don't think you can make it more where you're at and you want more, leave.
Fucking quit.
But don't hang around to like you making 10K at somewhere and you're employed by someone and you don't see a way forward and you want a way forward. Do not, I can't necessarily speak for these guys, but don't stick around for like a couple years trying to make it work.
No ceiling, bitches.
Yeah.
Just remember,
Get that.
if you're a 10K trainer and you know you're worth more, just like remember this, put it on the table. Let them know who they're about to lose.
Yeah, closed mouths don't get fed. So fucking speak up and get the hell out of there. If not.
Using a mouth analogy right after Tyler just like slayed it on down was a choice.
Hey, that'll make you some 10K too, I guess.
Y'all hear the
maybe
Hawk
you need the
girl?
sweater.
Oh, Hot Tour girl's in trouble, bro.
You're gonna go to jail.
Yeah, man.
Hey, by the way, I've got a new
should we come out?
cryptocurrency.
Should we come out with our own coin? Y'all down for that?
Hell
Hell
no.
yeah.
What are we calling it?
Our
I
own
don't know.
coin.
Kilo coin?
The kilo coin. How about for this podcast specifically, how about the 10K coin?
Ooh, I like it. 10K coin.
10K coin.
Yeah, we can be in jail with a Hawk Tua girl. I mean, like that worked out well. I mean, I think.
I would let
I think
her.
y'all know where my vision's going.
I would let her Hawk Tua.
Anyway, guys, so this has been Memoirs of a Fitness Trainer podcast. Yeah, this is a bit of a transition point. But anyway, if you guys have made your first 10K and it has gone well, I encourage you and invite you to comment down below what your story's been and to ask questions on how you can expand upon what that money is. Ultimately, you're only playing a game with yourself, so don't worry what other people have going on. We've made that mistake many times, and it's caused us to waste a lot of that money and hamper that growth. Understand what you're spending money on, and remember, the goal of business is to work less. It is to buy back your time so you can either allocate that time elsewhere or spend that money to, quite frankly, just grow the income itself. But Guys, this has been an excellent episode. We'll catch you guys here in the next one. Love you. And yeah, I need to work on how we end these.
Where's the wink?
Uh,